Welcome. This is the Talk to Think Tank with Kelly Pratt. Today we are talking about the language of appreciation. Hi there, I am Kelly Pratt and I am the founder and salonier of the So Do It Society. Every Tuesday we talk about something that has to do with what makes life worth living, I guess. But we choose a topic for each month. This month is November, and our topic is appreciation. Typically, people talk about gratitude in November, but I think appreciation is I think it's a little more important than gratitude. Gratitude is critical, truly, but appreciation is a broader concept. It is related to gratitude, but you can appreciate things that are in the future, that have been in your past, that are simpler and more, I guess, not as tangible as being grateful for something. And it broadens your mind to what you really kind of can pay attention to. Many of us in the So Do It Society work by ourselves. Many of us are creating something that will either change our own world or we believe will have a serious impact on our communities, on the world at large. Who knows what kind of impact it will have. And showing appreciation or being shown appreciation helps us to keep going. I was introduced to the love languages years ago, and it was a really new concept to me. And recently, about 2 years ago, I heard that the same concept has been applied to the world of the professional world of work. And it makes so much sense to me. I was quite really taken with it, actually. When I took it's called the MBA, which is let me see what it's called, the MBA inventory, now I'm not gonna know what that stands for. Don't you love that when acronyms are used and you're supposed to know what it means? Oh, here we go. Motivating by appreciation. So most of us have had the experience of being in a job and we don't hear a word about what we're doing, how we're doing it. In fact, one of my experiences was being one of two women in leadership roles at a large production company. And I had to ask for a performance appraisal. And the man running the company said, I really don't know how to appraise you and the other woman who was in the leadership role. And I thought, well, there you go. He doesn't know how to deal with women, first of all, which had been crystal clear prior. But I really needed to know. I believe you can't change or improve something unless you know if there's something to improve or change. And I was looking for, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How can we make this grow? And he had no idea how to even deal with that. It's a difficult situation. And it's hard to ask for that kind of feedback. It's very hard. So typically, what do? They usually schedule a performance appraisal, and then they tell you everything you're doing wrong. And maybe at the end they'll say, but on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 7. Like, okay, what does that mean? Or they'll give you a raise. And there are a lot of people for whom money, that's a given. You're supposed to be paid for your job. You're supposed to be paid well when you're doing a good job, and you're supposed to get money. It's like kids and allowances. There's a lot of talk about whether or not you should pay allowances, and it's an interesting concept. Should a kid be paid for just being a part of a family? Well, yeah, I should have to pay my kid for making his bed, but I should help them to understand what it means to do a good job. But every person feels appreciated in a different way. That's what this motivation by appreciation index shows, MBA. When I got my index back, it was so spot on. So here's what mine said. It said, Kelly, you are motivated by quality time. That means when the person you're working for or working with, in the situation of an entrepreneur who has many projects or partners in projects, quality time, someone who says to me, you know, I'd really like to go out to lunch and let's have a conversation about this project we're working on, or I'd like to hear more about what you think. To me, that's huge. That like buoys me. That gives me lots and lots of, that makes me feel appreciated. And the inventory said, yes, Kelly, that's how you feel appreciated. But I had never identified it as such. And then it said my secondary my secondary language of appreciation, that I actually have two tied languages of appreciation, and they are words of affirmation. I like to be told that you're on the right track. I love what you're doing. Thank you. All of those sort of obvious things, which to me seem like they're obvious. It seems like you should, you know, that's just something you do. And the other thing that I thought was interesting was acts of service is one of the other languages of appreciation. I love it when someone says, hey, can I help you with that? What about if I come over and we will sit down together and make progress on X, Y, or Z? To me, that shows that they appreciate what I'm trying to do, and it's huge. What's my lowest language of appreciation? Gifts. Sure, I love to get, you know, the So Do It mug, although I bought that for myself. I love to get gifts. I love to get little things, but that doesn't really say anything to me. And when I think about my personal relationships in the past, these things do translate. It was important to me to have quality time with my best friends, with my husband when I was married, all of those sort of things. It's not much different in the world of work. So I would be curious, what do you think about that? How do you show appreciation to the people with whom you work, either as a peer, partners in projects, someone who is a client? How do you show appreciation to a client? We will be talking with Deb Brown, whose entire business is built around this concept. Her business is called Touch Your Client's Heart. And what she does is help you figure out how to show appreciation to your clients in the language that will actually speak to that client, that shows them that you truly appreciate them. I love that. I think it's so meaningful. I'll tell you a story. When I first started working with Deb, she knows that words of affirmation, she gleaned this from me just from knowing me, and quirkiness, she knows that I like quirky stuff. So we sat down and we made an agreement to work together. And the next week I got in the mail, I wish I had it here to show you. I got in the mail, she actually mailed me a pair of white rubber flip-flops that were banded together, and she had addressed them to me. And on the back, she had written in Sharpie, she said, "Your clients are going to flip over what you have to offer." And words of affirmation, right? But the quirkiness of the delivery of those words of affirmation stuck in my mind. Here I am telling you about them. That's a good thing. And it was so spot on in terms of how I received that appreciation from her, and how I remember it, and how it buoyed me. Again, it made me feel, yay, she gets me. She understands what I'm doing, and made me want to tell people about her and to work with her more. So what are the other languages of appreciation? I am going to see if I can figure out how to share my screen and show you. I am getting this information from Languages of Appreciation. I think it's .com. Dr. Paul White has written a book. And in this book, which is this book right here, while I get this other thing open, when you buy the book, 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace, so Dr. Paul White and Gary Chapman, in the very back of the book, you get a code. And so when you buy the book, you actually get the code to go in and take the inventory, so you can find out what your languages of appreciation are. And it's very interesting. So I would highly recommend it. You can get the book anywhere. And I believe you can get an online copy of it. And there is a code in that online copy as well. So there's instructions on how to get that. So let me see if I can share my screen. No, not quite yet. And we'll talk about the other languages of appreciation. If it will let me open this lovely infographic, but it won't. So we're just going to talk about it then. How about that? So the other languages of appreciation are it's not opening. Tangible gifts. We talked about tangible gifts. So that's where you give somebody a mug, you give someone something that is, I suppose, flowers or whatever, you give them something that they can hold in their hands. The statistics say that 10% of employees, only 10% of employees prefer tangible gifts as their number one way of being appreciated. That's not very many, is it? 68% of employees say that tangible gifts are their least valued way of feeling appreciated. And that's the bottom of my list. So apparently I am in that area. More than 45% of employees say that words of appreciation, being told that they're doing a good job, that they are on the right track, and so on, is their primary way to receive appreciation. So a small thank you of, hey, I like how you did that, those sort of things. And these statistics are about employees, but I would guess that this is also about when you're working with a partner or any kind of a person that you're involved with in any kind of way. So 45%, almost half of people, want to hear words of appreciation, and that's their primary appreciation language. But approximately 40% of employees don't like to go up in front of groups. So if you're going to say, hey, you are amazing, make sure that that person that you're going to call out wants to actually stand up in front of your entire group or whatever. Make sure that they want to do that. 90% of employees find a work environment that is enjoyable and fun, motivating. 90% of people who enjoy going to work, who are having fun at work, find that very motivating. 70% of employees credited the people that they work with. And so for those of us who are solopreneurs, it's critical, and this is again why I've created the So Do It Society, to have peers and people around them who are motivating. So 70% of people credited their peers for creating an engaging environment. So perks such as work functions, parties, and so on, that kind of thing only accounted for 8%. So it's the day-to-day engagement. That's why as solopreneurs, as people who are, whether you're actually doing this professionally or not, if you're a stay-at-home mom who has an idea that you're working on, whatever you happen to be, make sure you maintain your connections, because you are someone who needs to have, who will feel much more motivated, chances are, unless you're part of the 30%. But most of us, though, knowing who is in our society, most of us are definitely, our motivation comes from being around people. So keep those connections going. The internet, where you are right now watching this, is not a place to live, but if we use it as a tool of a way to connect with people and find those people that we can really connect with, then it's doing its job, right? So make sure that you are giving yourself that gift. So the other languages of appreciation, words of affirmation. As we know, that's telling people they're doing a good job. Tangible gifts, giving someone a gift that they can look at and say, see, they appreciate me. Look at this, he gave me a cool mug with my name on it. Acts of service, that is the, here, can I lend you a hand? Let's go sit down, let's take Saturday morning or whatever to make some progress on that. I think I have some ideas for you, I can help you. And quality time, spending time giving you the knowledge that they value your opinion, that is hugely important. So I'm curious, I would love to hear in the comments below what you think your language of appreciation is. Is it gifts, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time? Oh, and I am missing one because there's 5. What is the 5th one? Odd, it doesn't say it here, hang on. Oh, this is why we're not talking about this very much. Okay, so there are 5 languages of appreciation: words of affirmation, tangible gifts, acts of service, and quality time. And the 5th one, which, as you will understand, doesn't come into play very often in the work world, it is physical touch. But when it's used appropriately, fist bump, a pat on the back, that sort of thing, it does mean something. There are people who need that human connection. And if it never happens, if people are too afraid of any kind of physical touch in a work world, then it makes for a very cold environment. So obviously we have to be somewhat careful of that so it's appropriate, but physical touch is the 5th language of appreciation. So here we are, appreciation and gratitude. Gratitude is big. Appreciation allows you to open up your mind a little bit more to what you can appreciate around you. Our month topic for November is appreciation, and we're looking at it specifically from how can you appreciate those around you and how do they feel appreciated. You can apply this to family, people you work with. Think about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Next week, we're talking to Deb Brown of Touch Your Client's Heart, our own resident expert in this area. Will be very fun. And the following week, we'll have an expert, an outside expert, to come in and talk with us about language of appreciation. And then the following final week in November, we will all gather and talk about it ourselves. So I look forward to hearing from you. And this is Kelly Pratt, founder and salonier of So Do It Society and Salons. Over and out. Oh, by the way, I appreciate all of you so, so much. You are helping me to create something that I think is going to change the world. So there you go. Thanks. Bye.